Welcome back, everybody, back to the Minecraft realm Saga. Today we're going to be diving into an exciting phase of our journey, what I'm calling Phase 2, I think. It's not in essence like a different season or anything like that, but it's definitely a development of what we've started on and where we're going. But before we jump into anything like that, there's just one little thing we have to do just in here. Now, I can't actually believe we're already coming back down here to our milestone library, but there's one very special thing we have to do, and that is right here. So I am overwhelmed, I am over the moon, I cannot believe it, that on the 12th of February 2024, we actually did hit 200 subscribers. Now, we're already far into 200 subscribers now. I'm so happy. I'm so thankful for everything you guys have done. But like the 100 subscriber special we did, we are ready to announce our next milestone, and that is the 200 subscriber button. I'm so thankful for all the support and love you've been giving me on my builds, on my last video. It is overwhelming at times how many comments I see, supporting me and praising what I've done so far. It's all up to you guys now and getting me to the next milestone just here at 500 subs. But yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for what you've done for me so far. It's unbelievable. You guys are just the best community I've ever come across. So thank you so much, and I hope I can give you back just as much as you give me. But let's move on to the core of what this video is going to be about and into what we're going to be doing in this video. So we finished with like the core builds in our area, we've just done our observatory, which is kind of a breakaway and kind of a nice segue between this section and our next section that we're going to be doing. But we've got our storage area, our first little starter home. We've of course got like potions, we've got enchanting, we've got our nether portal, we've got all our farms. So this first phase that we do is all about, establishing and laying out that groundwork and establishing the heart of our world, getting our themes, our ideas, and those essential builds that we're providing both function and that like initial character which we can use and draw from and utilize going forward. Oh, I need to sleep. So the second phase is, in essence, it's all about shifting our focus to expansion. That expansion is, in essence, a transformation. We're going to be transforming the crater into a thriving and interconnected world, both in our area here and with Peter's area here. And of course, we've got the entire village to expansion to do as well. We've just not found the time to settle in and start that project yet. But I don't want that to slow us down and to inhibit what we want to do going forward. So this next phase is going to be all about developing the infrastructure that ties, everything together while maintaining our dedication to aesthetic and theme over raw efficiency. So we could be creating a lot more redstone builds or builds that have redstone at their core, but I want these farms to be not just practical, but I want them to also fit seamlessly into the lore and design of the realm that we've done so far. All these automatic farms are going to be things that I showcased in our observatory builds, so farms and those kind of builds, but also like blocks and other renewable resources we can get in the background without having to go and gather them and collect them every time. So yeah, they're kind of going to be like the backbone of this next phase, and they're going to give us the tools to craft a complete and almost immersive world, alongside what we've done here with our other builds. Of course, it's all going to stay true to our like medieval, arcane-y, aesthetic-y theme that I've kind of put together here in what we've done so far, where we are prioritizing that storytelling and cohesion between builds while, giving them their own uniqueness and unique ideas and little special things here and there just to really make them stand out to what we've got going on. So each build you can see has like its own identity, so you can identify what that build is about, just by looking at it. Everything's different. So we got like our A-frame, our more like cottagey house feel, our more industrial feel, and then also our observatory up there, which is completely different to the rest. So today we're going to be starting with an essential project for what we need going forward, and that's just going to be an automatic moss farm. But before we get into that build, I want to just talk about and catch up what I've been up to behind the scenes here, because you can see I've kind of been up to quite a lot of the boring kind of grunt work, which I'm going to be using to set us up for the future going forward. So let me go ahead and start talking about that just now. When I terraform, I like to work with the land rather than against it. Minecraft's natural generation is already pretty amazing, so my goal is to expand upon what is there already, to enhance the natural shapes, bends, and elevations while carving out areas that are not only beautiful but very functional. Think of it like sculpting the world into something uniquely ours while keeping that seamless flow that feels grounded in the landscape. First up, I focus on the area directly below our mineshaft. It's one of the closest spots to the water in the center of the crater, and it's brimming with potential. I carved out 3 to 4 distinct areas in this small section, and I can already see some natural pathways developing as I mine. These paths are going to be the key to tying everything together. The challenge here is creating a smooth transition between the new terraformed areas and the village revamp that is planned to the right. Oh, and don't forget, of course, we're going to blend it in with the existing buildings, above the mine shaft here. Everything needs to connect harmlessly, and then also there's the water to think about as well. There are a couple underground waterways in this area, and they're kind of like a hidden gem that I'd really love to incorporate in a build somehow. Maybe some more secret redstone mechanisms we can involve, or an underwater structure, but I'd love to hear your ideas on this. So let me know in the comments what you think would be best down here. So next, let's head over to the area we haven't explored much, and that is the space to the left of our nether portal. This spot is actually home to the entrance of our deep underground tunnel, which you guys haven't seen at all yet, and it's the one that connects us to Lucas's place via minecart. It's a bit of a hidden gem, and I'm really excited to develop this mineshaft entrance around this terraformed area as we build here. It is a smaller project, but it's one we could add a lot of character to in our area here, and it's its own little corner of the world almost. So I moved on and I tackled the mountain and cliff faces just to the left of the area I just talked about. I spotted some natural walkways just appearing in the mountain naturally here, and they were just begging to be fleshed out, and it's amazing how much that helped spark some ideas for future builds. I'm really picturing some winding paths that lead you up and around the mountain, creating kind of like a new environment that's perfect for building. You can imagine bridges and cliffside structures that are kind of tucked away with a little few surprises here and there as well. It's really going to be a game changer for this area and unlock a different kind of build style we've not actually tackled yet. So I kind of think the main takeaway from our world here back to you guys from all this terraforming is how much it sets the stage for my creativity. For me, seeing the landscape take shape first makes it so much easier to design builds that feel cohesive and inspired. When I'm working with the land instead of just plopping builds on top of it, each structure ends up being informed by the natural surroundings way more. It gives every area its own identity and keeps me motivated to push the themes and ideas further. Expanding and shaping the land isn't just about making the space, it's about sparking ideas. Each bend in the path or curve of a hill, it invites a new concept or theme. And the best part of it is that these areas that we're carving out today are just the beginning. And I'm so excited to see how they evolve as we start building in this area. So let me know in the comments what kind of builds you'd like to see here, and let's make this world even more magical one block at a time in this new space. But that is enough of me yapping about grass blocks and dirt blocks. Let's move on to the main build and switch it up a little bit. There we... Ow! There we are. There is the redstone of the build complete. God, I suck at redstone, but I'm so happy it's done. I've just left it running there for a couple of minutes, and, you know, it's yielding really good results. You know, that's what I need most of it out of this is the moss blocks. So the fact we're getting those in a pretty good rate, that is all I care about. But I'm so happy it's done. So that is, like I was saying, the insides of the build is done now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go away, put a few ideas together, and come back and build a almost cast around this build, which is going to be a building surrounding the skeleton of our redstone, just because I want to hide this utter mess that I've created. Honestly, it is absolutely hideous. I was just throwing blocks down to get it to work. I was just running out of blocks in my inventory. Just see, I had some sort of thing going with the brick. Anyway, I'm gonna go away now, make this build, and you're gonna move on to the next part with me, which is covering our hideous redstone contraption with a gorgeous exterior build. Oh yeah, baby. Alright, so I didn't want this build just to be another redstone contraption hidden behind some more plain walls. I really wanted it to tell a story. And the idea from this build actually came from a book that I love so much called The World Without Us. This book explores the rapid reclamation of nature once humans are gone from an environment. So start to imagine what would happen if you left a automatic moss farm running for years, totally abandoned. What would it look like? And that is the vibe we're going for here. The redstone is still here doing its thing, but it's buried under layers of decay, crumbling walls, with vines everywhere, and this eerie sense that nature has won. And it's not just a farm here, it's a snapshot of what could happen if humanity walks away and the wilderness moves in. A strong foundation makes the factory feel authentic, but it also needs to look worn by time. I mixed in some cracked stone bricks and some mossy cobblestone in patches of dirt to create the illusion of age early on. Some small chunks of the foundation are missing, as if the ground is slowly reclaiming it already, and the goal is to make it feel sturdy yet fragile in this initial area. Bricks and terracotta give the walls a warm, industrial feel, with the terracotta adding a rusty, weathered look. The palette keeps it cohesive while letting the greenery pop later, and it's all about balancing the factory's past purpose with its nature's slow takeover. The deep slate roof really ties this build together with its dark, gritty, and industrial feel. I kept it really simple to make it feel like the factory that it is, while also giving the other pieces in the build room to breathe. To bring this build to the next level, I added some chimneys, pipes, and gears to add that steampunk touch to make the factory feel arcane yet mechanical. But to truly sell that this building is part of the environment, I focused on blending the structure back into the landscape. I used dirt and stone mounds with grass blocks and vines cascading down to really blend this structure from the ground up into the walls. The uneven terrain and crumbling edges around it really makes that the factory wasn't just placed here, but it grew into its surroundings, becoming a natural part of the environment over time. And then with the structure firmly in its place, it was time to let nature run wild. I covered this area in some natural foliage, from moss to hanging vines and a couple trees. You can even see them coming in and out of the walls ever so slightly. Some of the windows are shattered or boarded up, and parts of the building have collapsed in the roof slightly and in the walls. The grass and the vines and the glowberries spout from the stones from the roofs cascading down these walls. And it truly does make it feel like nature is actively reclaiming this space. The contrast between the rigid industrial design and the organic sprawl of nature makes this whole building feel alive, like time and the elements are slowly consuming what's left of this. And again, this build isn't just a moss farm, it's a fusion of storytelling, aesthetics, and function. The rigid industrial structure is softened by nature's slow reclaiming, creating some both familiarity and some fantastical features. Now this is an absolutely beautiful sight. You can see what we've got going on all around here. You can see the themes we've been going for and the themes we've been hitting, in my opinion. But I just want to come down, do a bit of a walkthrough of like the interior and just hit on a couple more final details as we close out the video here. So the entrance here, you can see how overgrown it has become. I really like this front area. You can really see that foliage coming out and almost growing out of the building. I think that effect has just come through so perfectly. But let's move on here. So the double doors reinforce that factory feel that I was really going for. I wanted to keep one of them functional and the other one I wanted to bury it in this nature here. Just showing how time has really changed this space. How it once was a functional factory like an indoor and an outdoor, and now this part of the building has been completely taken over by the nature. But let's head straight into the basement here, which is on our lower level of the factory. So this place serves as a storeroom at its core function with the multiple shelves you can see all around here. So I've just gone through and done a couple of different decoration-y pieces here with like these different shelves and, you know, kind of really lean into what a factory like this might want to store or what would be down here, just to really enhance that factory aesthetic that I keep going on about. So obviously most of these shelves are decorative except for the ones holding the chests here. So I've got a full hopper system that leads out from the output of the moss farm, and it leads directly into these two chests right here. So yes, there's quite a lot of weight of space, but I don't mind manually moving stuff between these chests and the rest of them if I have to. I didn't really have the space to do a full automated storage, nor did I really want a full automated storage system. I just don't like them that much. I know it's kind of weird, but I do like to manually put them in. But I think on reflection, you know, this space does feel ever so slightly a bit too clean, maybe a bit too vibrant. I think on reflection, I might come back and tone it down ever so slightly. You can see we've got our like outside creeping in here with the moss and all the vine and mossy blocks, and you know, you can see all through it. It's kind of creeping through, but I think it's just too bright. Maybe a couple cobwebs or taking out a few of the light blocks like the lanterns and stuff we have. Just maybe make this basement area feel a bit more cooler going forward. But that's just an idea I've had just now in the last couple of minutes. But I want to move upstairs now where the functionality of the build really comes into play. So moving upstairs here, we've got a fully decorated interior, and I wanted to highlight this key feature which I really love, and that's this partially collapsed wall here in the side of the building. I think it really breaks up the texture of this upstairs area while allowing that natural light to come in without having the need for a window, because all our windows are actually higher than us right now, but I still wanted some of that natural light to come through. But there is another big key feature of this open wall here. It gives context to the vines and the moss and the water leaking in from the outside coming in, and it really feels like nature is reclaiming this space. Both from the outside of the building, I wanted to bring that feeling inside the building. So you can imagine almost like the rain and all the dirt and the growth and the foliage seeping in from this point, which is why you can kind of see all this growth happening along and inside this room. Connected to like this water here, which is obviously like giving the effect of like rainwater filling in and eroding away. I brought in some of these dark oak planks just to give that effect of maybe like soaked wood or damp wood, to give that damp effect that I kind of want to get downstairs a bit more, and just to also, you know, break up the texture and break up this flat brown coloring we've got going on. I think it's difficult, but another one of my favorite features, so obviously right now above you can hear the running water and the bubbles coming from the factory itself above us, but I really wanted to give context to that sound, again to avoid this just being a redstone build. So I brought in these copper pipes here that run from the upper level, you know, in theory they actually run just here, and they run down, you will have seen, into this area here. And the reasons for that is it adds that extra layer of realism, making it, well, actually adds functionality to the build. So obviously this is a foliage, it's a growth factory, it's got greenery involved, so you're gonna have to have some sort of water system or filtration system, you know, that kind of mentality. So I thought, why not add some of these copper pipings here? And obviously as we go outside, there's the copper works all on this side and the outside, so it's all about tying that outside look to the inside while giving context to the growth and the greenery, and we've got water flowing. So these water pipes here are bringing the water water to and from the farm to help supply all the water for the plant growth to happen. And of course, you know, those copper elements around the build really reinforce that steampunk aesthetic, and it's something I really want to push for more in these builds as we move forward, kind of away from that side, which is maybe a bit more fantastical and a bit more magical, maybe bringing it more to more of a steampunky vibe, a bit more over here. You know, I still like that sort of magical feel we've got over there. It really does translate well. But yeah, it's just something I want to, you know, transfer and bring across into some more builds. So with that theme, I wanted to come over here and build kind of a fake composter kind of machine. And that's obviously because I want this build to not only supply with moss blocks and all those kind of things, but I also want it to supply it with bone meal. But I didn't want to have another on-show bone meal farm, but I still wanted to add that idea to this build. So I've made a kind of like fake machine here, but the real thing is that it's hidden within this system here. So if we just open up here, you can see a chest which feeds into this, which feeds into the composter, which feeds into these chests here. So we've got a moss farm that's going to feed our feed our builds going forward, but also a bone meal farm which is going to help feed our landscaping going forward. So it's all kind of tied together, hidden away within this one build. There's just a couple of the redstone components here, so you can see how big this building is really and how compact I've kind of made it feel. So here's all the machinery and works, and here's that hopper system I was talking about just leading here, which leads into our chests in the storeroom below. Just to give context, so that just feeds into there. So that's all just there. And then the one last component of this upstairs area is in here, which is like a little office space I kind of made just to give, like, you know, a bit of a different feel to this area. But its main function is to house our on switch. So just flicking this, and you hear it going. So yeah, that's just to house our on and off switch. But yeah, I'm really happy with how this has turned out. Again, this factory isn't just for looks. Like, this isn't the most efficient system. It isn't the most, you know, it doesn't produce the greatest output, but it does supply us with everything we need going forward while fitting into the overall themes that we really want for our world. It feels abandoned yet still serves a purpose, and it perfectly blends that decay and utility I wanted this build to translate and bring into the world that I've talked about the book that I was on about. It's just all here, and it's that reclaimed and functional aesthetic that I really want to tap into going forward, maybe mainly in this area, but I've got a couple ways that I can include it in more of a natural aspect as well. One sec, we got a friend just coming for us here. But yeah, that is what I've done. That is everything for this build. That is it wrapped up. I am really happy with how it turned out. You can kind of see how it all fits together in the long haul, how it's kind of a harsh building in reality, but its edges are really softened by how much foliage and how much overgrowth we've been able to incorporate. So yeah, I am really pleased with how this turned out, and really pleased with the theme I was really able to nail in and produce. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of the build, and you can see how much space we've got to work with now, and all along here and eventually up there like I was talking about. But yeah, if you guys have enjoyed this build, please leave a like, please leave a comment of any other builds you'd like to see in the future coming from me. This is a really cool phase we're going to be going into, you know, expanding this whole area behind us here and working on some more dynamic and maybe different elements and thought processes and themes and stuff like that. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please come back and subscribe. There's so much more I've got planned, so you guys do not want to miss out. Thank you so much for all the support you've given me so far. We're so close to 250 subscribers actually, so I can't wait to hit that hopefully in February this year. So yeah, thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in the next episode of the Realm Saga. See ya!